That's one of the great letting go moments of my life. Just the first heartbreak is the hardest, I think.
Here we are in Denver. How did you get from Rapid City to Denver?
I went to school at the University of South Dakota. It had a business school and a law school, and I was going to be the cutest little lawyer you'd ever seen. I was going to get a JD and MBA together. I am type A+, perfectionist. I was a competitive gymnast my whole life. So because I'm so naturally kind of high achieving and had packed my schedule my whole life, I had my Newman Center friends that were involved in my life. I had my sorority sisters, and then I also had my business school friends. And I was really good at living in whatever of those personalities that those different groups wanted. Like I could compartmentalize what side of my personality came out. The bad part of that I really had to learn to moderate with a lot of virtue was there are certain principles that I live my life by and certain boundaries that I needed to institute. But that's like your 20s are just a hard season of life, and you kind of learn what you really prioritize in your 20s. And so I had to learn the hard way.
What are some of the other virtues you had to learn how to create boundaries the hard way?
For example, with chastity, understanding I never really took a hard stance on pornography or masturbation in my own life or in other people's lives. And when my sorority sisters would talk about it, to me it was a little bit shocking, but to realize that, yeah, actually a lot of women do struggle with things like pornography and masturbation, and where do I fall with that? Am I seeing good fruit from the people that I know that are engaging in these things or engaging in sex outside of marriage? Do I actually really want to emulate them as a person?
We're talking a lot about kind of being able to set those boundaries in the chastity issues. How were you able to do that in any dating relationships that you had in college?
So I had dated a guy for 4 years. I would not say that either of us were great at living out the virtue of chastity. There was a desire to love each other well, but in college specifically, castles never crumble in a day. I had been pushing little boundaries here and there, up to the point that I was I'm no longer comfortable with what we're doing, but now it's become a norm in our relationship.
Okay. And you say a norm has become a norm in our relationship. Is that a relationship that you still are in?
No. By the grace of God, that's part of I think, one of the great letting go moments of my life, and maybe one of the moments of, I would say, honestly, just grace, coming in and saying, I love you too much to keep you in here. And so that was just the first heartbreak is the hardest, I think. But it allowed a lot of great, not only maturity, but also for me to be able to say yeah, actually, what do I want in life? And so it was the first real moment of suffering. And then that's ended up being able, for me to be able to see the call, choosing not to apply to go to law school and get my MBA. And instead, I applied to be a full-time missionary after college. I ended up being a missionary for 5 years, which I only signed up for a couple of years, but ended up being for 5 years. And it was because I saw the great freedom that happened in my life once I was able to say yes with a clear mind.
So you said your counselor and your spiritual director kind of encouraged you to embrace this idea of being a co-creator with God, and so you embraced art. What type of art did you do, and what did you find in art that allowed you to connect with God in a different way?
Yeah, I learned how to write icons. I'm not good at it in any way, but I'm doing it.
How do you start writing icons, and how do you do writing icons?
Writing icons is a prayer of the heart, so you're meditating on the personality of the person that you're writing, and painting, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you're also thinking about what is my own story and how do I come to this. It really is just a physical prayer.
Leah's theme is definitely freedom. Not just freedom from shame, but freedom for something. Freedom for the virtues that can be found in Jesus Christ. Freedoms found only in Jesus Christ. And I think that's what we discovered as we listened to Leah's life. That as she discovered truth, and as she discovered that truth was Jesus Christ, and that Jesus Christ in fact loved her, and in being loved by Jesus Christ allowed her to be vulnerable, to share herself with others. And in that sharing of herself with others, in sharing her love for Jesus Christ with others, Leah found what she was ultimately seeking for, which was freedom. The freedom to love and the freedom to be loved.